Hey guys, it is BusanKevin here on the BusanKevin channel. I just wanted to come to you with kind of like a little storytelling, feeling good kind of story. Yeah, because I haven't talked to you guys very much recently. Over on the BusanKevin channel, my other channel, I talk to you guys, but over here on the BusanKevin channel, I don't do a whole lot of talking. And I haven't made a whole lot of videos recently. I've been putting out some content. I put out a pretty cool video last week, I thought. Just a really awesome, fun day with my family, mostly with my son. That was really cool. And the story is kind of related to that. It's got to do with like being with my family and being with my son, and then kind of Japan and the ups and downs in Japan. And the next couple of days, either tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to be putting out episode number 28 of the Just Japan podcast. So that's my podcast about Japan. And when some of you listen to it, in the beginning you might kind of think, hey, these guys, it's kind of negative. But it's not. It's constructive. So, not constructive, it's honest. And it's a video where I sit down with a couple of other people who work in the education industry in Japan, and we've all been here for about 6 years, and we talk about like the ups and downs. And the thing is, no matter where you go in life, in the world, there's going to be positives and negatives, ups and downs. And what we want to do is just, we wanted to talk about how there are negatives involved in coming to Japan and working. Bad things can happen, negative things can happen. There's a lot of good things that can happen, but it's not always great. And some people think that, but it's not always the case. Some people really have kind of rose-colored glasses, and they think that Japan will be the answer to all of their problems and everything will be great, hunky-dory. But at the end of the day, life is life, and there's a reality wherever you are. There's a reality in Canada, there's a reality in England, in Australia, New Zealand, America, Slovenia, Liechtenstein, wherever it may be. Oh, I'm getting itchy nose. So yeah, so when you listen to that podcast, if you do listen to the Just Japan podcast, and you should, the links are below. In the beginning you might think, hey, this guy's pretty negative, but near the end of the podcast you realize, actually no, they get pretty positive. So it's a really cool positive story. So it's the Obon holiday here in Japan, which is kind of winding up in a couple of days, the big August summer holiday. And I've been fortunate enough to have 9 days off, which has been a great way to recharge the batteries. And we decided to take my kids to the local aquarium yesterday. So this is Friday, so Thursday. And my son was a bit sick. He had a bit of a cold. But we figured, okay, let's try to do this anyway, because we don't have many opportunities to do this. And we got there, and it was so bloody hot. It was like one of the hottest days. Oh my God, it was so hot. And it being summer vacation, I guess we didn't think it through too well. Everyone else in the city of Kobe, where I live, wanted to bring their children to the Suma Aquarium, which is like the Kobe Aquarium as well. So it was so packed. It was so hot. And everywhere you looked, every kid was just in misery. Just children all just drenched in sweat, their hair soaking wet, kids crying, babies crying, parents looking frustrated. And we were two of those parents as well, my wife and I. And on top of that, so my son and my daughter were both so hot, and my son just sweating, and he also had a cold, so he had to go to he had some issues, gastrointestinal issues, we'll say that, and he had to go to the bathroom a lot. And it was really taxing and really tiring, and by the time we left, we were all miserable. My wife and I were so grumpy and surly and hot and sweaty, and the kids were miserable. And we had to take a couple of trains to get home. And we leave the aquarium and we walk up the road, and it's so hot and miserable. And we get on the first train, and my daughter's asleep at that point in her stroller. And we sit down, and my son's just knackered, and he's sitting kind of slouched into me. And we sit in the seats that are for children, elderly, people who are injured, pregnant women, all that, because we got the little kids. And there's a space beside my wife, and this really old woman gets on the train. She definitely looks like she's in her 80s or 90s. And she sits down beside my wife, and she looks at my son, who's kind of like half asleep, leaning on me, and she's like, oh, he's so cute. In Japanese, of course. She's like, he's so cute. Oh, your children are beautiful. And then she starts telling my wife about how, like, she had like 6 or 7 kids, have more kids. It's so wonderful to have children. It's great, great, great. So we make our transfer at this main station, Sanamia Station. And there's like, it's such a crowded place. Hundreds of people everywhere, thousands of people everywhere. And we make our transfer, we go through the station, we go to another train station, and who do I see running along with that same old woman dragging this big cart behind her? So we get onto a train, we get into a car, the next car, train, and then on the car, on the train. We all get settled, and we look who is sitting. Oh no, I gotta backtrack. We're waiting in line to get on the second train. We're waiting in line, and the old woman stops. I see her. She kind of waves to me and my son Nazar. And I turn around, and I'm like kind of looking at the train. And out of the corner of my eye, I see something. My son's standing beside me. And it's that old woman. She comes running up, and she grabs my son's hand like this. And she puts 200 yen in his hand. That's like about $2, 220, in his hand, and closes it. And she says to him in Japanese, "Go buy some juice." And I'm like, no. And I kind of nudge my wife. I'm like, the woman, the nice woman, just gave him money. And my wife, and the woman kind of like runs off to like run away. And my wife's like, no. And the woman stops and looks at my wife, and she's like, like, damn it, don't tell me that. Like, in a nice way, kind of like, he's keeping the money. And my son's just sitting there stunned with 200 yen, like $2 in his hand. This old, beautiful, nice woman just thought my son was cute. She talked to my wife for a few moments, and maybe it brought her something in the day. And she gave my son a couple of bucks to go buy juice, which is amazing. We get on the train. She gets on the train. We end up in the same car. She talks to my wife some more. And there's kind of a palliative care hospital that's on the island where I live. And her husband is in the palliative care hospital, which obviously means the situation isn't good. So she's going there to visit her husband. She goes to visit him several times a week in palliative care. And and she was so sweet and kind to do that for my son, just, to give him a little bit of money. And I'd been so surly and so grumpy, and I told my wife, you know what, that just negated all the nastiness of the day, the heat, the grumpy kids, the crowds, that someone would do something so kind. Small things, right? That's all it takes, guys. Small things in life can make someone's day very special, very wonderful. So yeah, I just wanted to share that amazing story of Japan with you. Yeah, cool thing. Alright guys, that's it for Kevin. I hope you're having a great week wherever you are. I hope you're gearing up for the weekend. You can have a great weekend ahead of you. Check out all the links below, to like the podcast and stuff. You can go support the channel over on patreon.com. That link's below. Support the podcast over there on patreon.com. Yeah. Go check out the links, especially the podcast, man. I'm into the podcast in a big way. It's doing well. It's growing. So you can subscribe in iTunes, on Stitcher, Internet Radio, all that jazz. But more of it's to come. Some new camera gear coming in the next month or so. And hopefully we can improve the quality and the frequency, to be honest. Alright guys, take care. Thank you for the support. I always appreciate it. I need to start making more videos for you guys. I'm still putting a lot of unedited stuff on the BusanKevin channel. That's my secondary channel. If you don't already know about it, the link's below. Go check it out in the doobly-doo. And that's it for me for tonight. So take care guys, and later.